Welcome to Legs Like Mine, the podcast, where we explore lipedema through the eyes of a patient, break down the latest research, and share real life stories of living with this often misunderstood condition. I'm Susan O'Hara from legslikemine.com. I'm a lipedema patient, author, and advocate, and I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're newly diagnosed or deep into your journey, this podcast is for you. Today, we're talking about why ICD-10 codes for lipedema are so important and what you can do right now to help make them a reality. Imagine going to your doctor with a very real, very painful condition, but when they enter your diagnosis into the medical record, there is no specific code to capture what you actually have. Instead, your condition gets lumped in under something vague, inaccurate, or completely unrelated. That's what happens every day for people living with lipedema. ICD-10 codes are the international diagnostic codes that physicians, insurers, and researchers use to identify conditions. Without them, patients fall through the cracks, and the ripple effects are enormous. So why are ICD-10 codes for lipedema so critical? There are three main reasons. One is to track prevalence. Without a specific diagnosis code, no one can accurately count how many people have lipedema. That makes it nearly impossible to measure the scope of the problem or push for funding. Second, for consistency in coding. Right now, providers may enter all sorts of different codes, sometimes lymphedema, sometimes obesity, sometimes generalized swelling, sometimes unspecified disorder. That inconsistency hurts patients, providers, and insurers alike. And third, knowledge bases and clinical guidelines. Many clinical decision tools and research databases rely on diagnosis codes. When the right code doesn't exist, lipedema is invisible in the very systems that guide care. Now, some people argue we don't need ICD-10 codes for lipedema because ICD-11 already includes them, and eventually the US will move to ICD-11. But here's the problem. The United States has no anticipated date for ICD-11 adoption. It could be years, maybe even a decade before ICD-11 is implemented here. I know because when we implemented ICD-10 years ago, it took at least 5 years after the international codes had been adopted before the United States caught up. In the meantime, for us, patients are left unrecognized and underserved. That's why getting an ICD-10 code now are urgently needed. Waiting is just not an option. So here is the call to action. What can you do? Here's where every listener becomes part of the solution. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is accepting comments right now in support of ICD-10 codes for lipedema. It's already been presented, it's in the queue, and actually this is the third time around that it's been presented. But the deadline to respond and provide your support is October 9th of 2025. I'm asking you personally to do two things. One, send an email to the CDC. Tell them you support ICD-10 codes for lipedema and why it matters to you. The address will be in the show notes, but I'll say it's nchsicd10cm@cdc.gov. The other thing I'd like for you to do is ask 10 people you know, friends, family, colleagues, your provider, support group members, to do the same. If every listener sparks 10 more voices, we cannot be ignored. And make no bones about it, the American Lipedema Association, which I'm the president of, has already sent our letters of support. We've sent in the names and addresses of everyone who signed our change.org petition, which is close to 900 people now. And we've sent in comments individually as well. This is about visibility, recognition, and better care for everyone with lipedema. Codes may sound technical, but they are an absolute foundation for access, research, and fairness. Without them, lipedema remains hidden. With them, we move closer to equity and understanding. Thank you so much for being part of this effort. Together, we can unite our voices and become powerful to make a real difference. You've been listening to Legs Like Mine, the podcast. Until next time, keep advocating, keep educating, and keep connecting. If this episode spoke to you, or if you've ever felt unheard on your lipedema journey, please know this: you are not alone. We're in this together, and we're not stopping here. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening. I'm Susan O'Hara from legslikemine.com. Be kind to yourself and keep going.